So 561 Music now has a hotline. You can call us anytime at 561-203-9122 and ask us any questions you like. Some humorous ones or something about the guests we've had on the show, or questions about gear, or questions about the festival, or anything you like. It's, of course, 561-203-9122. We would love to hear from you. We did a pretty fun little message, so you get to hear that too. Even if you just call up to listen to me and Hector trying to do a good phone message, that's a good enough reason. But yeah, we'd love to hear from you, so please get in touch.
Take a better scene. It's what we're doing. Come and check it out. It's what we're all about. 561 Music.
Welcome to 561 Music. My name's Ben, and unfortunately, there's no Hector today, so it's just me and the guests, but I'm sure we'll be fine. We got this. And so last night, we had 2 episodes this week, which is pretty exciting. That's quite a rare occurrence for us. We have done it before, but we don't very often. It's mainly because the festival is coming up, and 561 Music Festival number 2 on April 1st at Matthews Brewing. And we just needed to make sure that we had 99 episodes in the can so that the 100th episode would be the one about the festival. You know, it just kind of like adds up nicely like that. So, hopefully you guys are going to enjoy a week chock full of 561 Music episodes. In terms of stuff that's been going on, well, last night we had Octo Gatto on, and that was hilarious. Those guys are super cool. We had a really, really good time with them. And as they would say, we all got laid. I've got like a big pile of lays in the passenger seat of my car, which is fun. In other news, Justin and I have been putting together an interesting hurdy-gurdy experience for you, which is going to appear pretty soon. I played some hurdy-gurdy in front of the green screen. I'm not going to give away exactly what song we did, but it's a good laugh. I've been having a lot of fun playing the hurdy-gurdy. If you don't even really know what one is, it's this instrument from the Middle Ages that has like a crank on it, and you play it like this. And I actually have a tattoo of it up here. And the whole reason that I got one was on the podcast, Justin heard me talking about the tattoo I had of a hurdy-gurdy and how much I like hurdy-gurdies. And then he put together a GoFundMe thing to help me get a hurdy-gurdy. So now I am the proud owner of one, and kind of beholden to all of the very kind people who gave money for me to get it. And so I've just been trying to deliver. I've been practicing the thing like crazy, and I'm trying to produce some content, some fun stuff for you guys to watch. I'm getting there with it. It is not easy, I'll tell you that right now. I wasn't expecting it to be easy, but it definitely conformed to expectations. It is not, but I'm getting there. I have a teacher, this guy called Steve Tyler. He's a cool guy from England. I do a Zoom thing with him every Tuesday, and it's great. He just has exactly the vibe of a hurdy-gurdy teacher you would expect. He's just long hair and a beard, and he sort of looks like a man from the past. He looks super cool. Anyways, we have Eastway with us today. We have Adam, Mike, and Nick from Eastway. How's it going, guys?
Well, it's going great, man. Thank you.
Excellent, man.
So thanks so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. So I'm not hugely up on your band, so I'm going to let you guys do the explaining. And the first thing that we generally ask on this podcast is, how did you guys first get into music? And why don't we start with Adam? Like, did you have a supportive family and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, well, my dad was always into music, and there's always music blasting in the house. He's got like a wall of CDs that's just like thousands of CDs, but like it wasn't really any music that I honestly liked. But I remember, like, there were some bands that, like, he specifically told me not to listen to,
right? Like
Disturbed and some bands like that. So that's kind of what I gravitated to, like, off
funny.
the beginning. And I think I started playing guitar in 5th grade. And I had, I was small at the time, so I got this, like, miniature little acoustic that was blue. And that's when I started playing.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, the rest is
So
history.
did you have lessons?
Yeah, I took lessons at like a really similar place to this in West Boca.
Oh, nice.
I don't remember the name, but yeah.
Did you ever do any kind of group sort of organized kind of music related things like at school? Did you do any of that stuff?
Yeah, prior to me starting guitar lessons, I played snare drum in the school band with Nick.
Oh,
And
cool.
yeah, that was from like 4th grade to maybe like 7th grade.
You guys all went to the same school, right?
Yeah, actually, the
Correct.
entire band like grew up together, like from honestly like 4 years old till
Oh,
now.
that's so cool.
So like we're pretty tight.
That's awesome. We'll get back to that. But what about you, Mike? How did you find yourself getting into music?
My parents were always into bands. Like my mom loved Led Zeppelin and the Beatles. My dad was like big Rolling Stones guy. But basically, I always was around music growing up, but none of my family was like musicians. And I actually started chilling with this guy Adam in 5th grade. We were always friends, but we kind of became closer in like 5th grade. And like long story short, I was at his house one day, and I had seen something like on David Letterman, and it was like they did a feature on like the World Series, and I was watching it because I was always a baseball player, and they were talking about they just had this montage, this compilation, and it had this song in the background. And I was like, this song is sick. Like, what is this? And we were chilling at Adam's one day, and like his brother just like randomly starts singing something, and I realized it was the same fucking song. And I was just like, "Yo, what is that? Like, that song is sick. I don't know who that is." And Adam like turns it, looks at me, it's like, "It's Green Day." And I was just like, I'd never heard of Green Day. And so like at that point, we went down the rabbit hole, and like, I'd loved music before, but like Green Day was really for me like the band that made me want to like play guitar and like
I
be in a
get
band.
that. I had a similar experience with Green Day when I was a young lad. Well, I think Dookie came out when I was around 13.
Yeah.
And that was just such a seminal album. And, I remember seeing them playing live one time and some thing that MTV had on. And, yeah, it definitely turned me on to punk, them and... I guess them and Rancid and The Offspring, those bands that kind of cut through into the sort of like the wider world from punk. That I think they're responsible for a lot of people getting into punk.
They were the gateway. Yeah, it was. I think the song was American Idiot, so it was like right about the time that album had just come out, and like like I said, I was into music before. Like the year before, I was big into Eminem, trying to like emulate his style,
Right.
like as like a 4th grade kid. And then in 5th grade, like I said, like I got into just Green Day and got a guitar. So Adam was there the first day I got my guitar. I was with my mom and brother. I got my little Squire Strat
Yeah, it was
pack.
one of the combo packs from Sam
Yeah.
Ash that comes with an amp,
like
the
the little
guitar.
amp.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
And
You still have it, right?
Yeah, I
That's
still have it.
awesome.
And like Adam was kind of the one who like convinced me I could play guitar. He was just like, dude, like you could just, play Brain Stew. Like it just goes up the neck and just like really
It's
simple
one of the
song.
first songs we teach. Like, a lot of the teachers that work here at LMC, we'll get them started on Brain Stew.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like Brain Stew, Hitching a Ride, and it was just like simple. And it's just like, it was easy enough to convince you that you could play it. And it was just like, you didn't have to be a guitar god or a virtuoso to get into it. So that's,
Yeah, totally. I think that's one of the good things about punk rock in general is that it's accessible in that way.
Yep.
But then not to the point where it's like punk rock is this weird easy genre. It isn't, but like some of it is relatively easy to play on the guitar.
Exactly.
I think some people would be confused by that and be like, "Oh, it's all easy and rubbish," but that's not the case at all.
You said like the guitar, like the drums. That's a different story.
Exactly. Yeah, totally. Nick, how did you find yourself getting into music?
So my parents were always into music growing up, and then my dad, when I got a little older, my dad told me he was actually in a touring band back in the day as a drummer. So that's
cool.
why I started playing drums because of him. He was in a big hair band like back when that was a popular style.
Oh, that's rad.
Yeah, he moved down here when he was super young.
Did he have big hair?
Yeah. So full spandex, get up, eggplant colored hair
What
down to
a
his ass.
legend.
Yeah, I mean, just ridiculous.
I love it.
But so he was the reason I started, and I think I started playing drums around age 10, and I think they gave me like a loaner kit from like my cousin, and then a year later we went and bought like a starter Yamaha Riding kit, $500 at like Guitar Center or something like that, and then from then on it was just nonstop playing drums. Took lessons for most of high school.
Right.
Actually had my teacher, a guy named Jeff Lafferty. I haven't talked to him in forever, but he was a great instructor. He's a drummer for a a jazz fusion band called Blue Fire. I don't know if he's still in it or not. I haven't really kept up with him, but he was a Berkeley grad, so he was. At first, it was just the basics and all that, and then eventually one day he sat me down, like I think junior year of high school. He's like, "All right, so from this point on, these lessons are either for fun or we're doing this to get you to audition for Berkeley, because like he can get me the audition." And me being a shithead stoner punk rocker back then, I was like, "Yeah, nah, this is just for fun." But so it's just been drums ever since.
We were talking about that drum kit earlier, so you've been playing on that drum kit for a long time. You just got the new one, right?
Yeah, I've basically had that kit. I don't know, I couldn't even add up the years, but I finally in the last year bought my first kit that I bought myself. That wasn't just the same one I've had since I was a kid.
Yeah, when we get into the gear, we'll take a look at that. That's awesome. So, how did the band start? Any of you guys can take that. How did you guys find yourselves playing music together?
So back in like middle school, we weren't all the same people in the band that we are now, but majority of us were. We had a few. It was like I think Mike, myself, I think Adam, and our friend Jack, and it was I think 3 guitars and a drummer.
No, I wasn't in it at the time. It was Andreas, Jack, and Mike all playing guitar.
Yeah.
No bassist.
No bassist, 3 guitars, a drummer, and like we would just play, and it sounded terrible, but we would play in Adam's parents' like living room, like just let us play. We play
Lucky
there.
Adam's parents.
Yeah, and then once we kind of like got towards high school ish, my parents' old house, they actually converted the garage into an air conditioned room because they thought it would be like a media room, and then eventually they're like, you guys can just take it over. So it literally became a dedicated band room for, forever, and it was awesome. They were encouraging. They were super supportive, so they let us just go and wail all we wanted. So it was
at the end of the
nice.
day, it's a relatively wholesome way for sort of teenage lads to be spending their time, in comparison to other things we could all be doing,
Exactly.
Yeah, no, if I had kids and they ended up doing that, of course I would, because I'm a musician, but I'd be super supportive. Yeah, that's great. So when did it turn into the version it is today, like Eastway? When did that happen?
So we've gone through a couple iterations. I think we've been through like 4 band names by now.
Yeah.
Okay, and how many of you were in that? All 3 of you?
All 4 of us plus the other guitars.
Okay, gotcha.
So it started off, our first band was probably a year or 2 after what Nick was talking about in the garage, and our name was Rule of Thumb.
Yeah.
And that's when we first started like writing our own music. His drum teacher actually recorded one of our first originals in the garage and kind of like mixed it in an hour.
Oh, really?
And
Yeah.
I still have the CD somewhere, probably my dad's wall of CDs. And then from Rule of Thumb, we stayed with that for a couple years. And then we switched to the name Left on 18th, because Nick lives on 18th Street, and to get to his house, you have to turn left.
Got it.
That was the next band. It was the same 4 people. And yeah.
No, after that it was
8 ounces short.
8 ounces short. Yeah, God.
What was that one? 8 ounces
8
short?
ounces short. So it's kind of a play on the whole fact that it was like when we started drinking and we're like partying as high schoolers.
Gotcha.
It's kind of a play on the whole fact that there's no 40 ounces in Florida. So like, punk rock is like OEs and Old Englishes and
You
all
only
that
get
stuff.
32
So
ounces, yeah.
we thought it was cheeky, and we're like, all
8
right, whatever.
ounces short. Okay, I didn't hear what you said. That's actually pretty funny.
Yeah.
And we picked up a singer in high school, and right when we picked him up, we switched the band name to 8 Ounces Short, and we started covering like totally different genres of music. And he was singing, like he was only a singer, so we all got to focus on the music, and he was really into like Rancid and Leftover Crack and like things like that. So we started playing different genre. That went on
I could
for a
see
few
8
years.
ounces short being like a crust scar, kind of like
Exactly.
crack rock steady type band.
It was
was
like
more-
crusty hardcore punk.
It was more hardcore
ska,
punk. Yeah.
but like more
Gotcha.
punk forward. Yeah.
And our friend had kind of like raspy, like cigarette smoker vocals, so he was
Gotcha.
just like,
Yeah. He was a Staz wannabe.
Yeah.
Just
Got
as
it.
Yeah.
And that went on until we went to college.
Yeah. Well, we actually dropped him pretty quickly because it's funny, actually. Myself and Andreas, who's not here right now, we were against him because he was a good friend, but we were against him being in the band because we've heard him sing and it's just terrible. And then Mike and Adam were like, yeah, give him a chance, blah, blah. We're like, okay, whatever. So it happened. He was in the band for a little bit. It worked out in our favor for a little stint because we got to play with his older brother's band, who is kind of like a popular local band back in the time called Dead Right.
Dead right.
Got to play with them and like Inoculation, some
were
other
sick.
like local bands that were, I don't know if they're still a thing. But yeah, there was one practice where just, we finally saved up, bought some like some Shure SM58s, where they were. And actually we stole some from our school too. But yeah, he's up there singing. We're like,
Edit that out.
I think we're covering a choking victim song. It's just aggressive. And halfway through the song, he was we looked over and he just starts as his singing part ends, and he starts slamming his forehead into the mic, like
Oh,
Gigi
heavens.
Allen style. And we're like,
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
the fuck are you doing, bro?
Yeah.
And after that, I was like, all right, that's the last show. It's like, okay, we need to get away from this and just sound good. And,
I think we still got the mic with the den in it. Actually,
yeah, it's behind my
Skin
drum
on it.
sets.
Yeah.
I tell
my
you what,
vocal
though,
mic.
if it was an SM58, I'm sure it still works.
Yeah, it
Oh,
does.
it still works fine. It's just
I
a little
drove
net on it.
over my SM58 in my truck, and it still just works fine.
Yep.
Those things are just legendary. And sure, if you're listening, we would love to have you as a sponsor. I'm just saying, all of these are
come
sure.
on, guys. Come on.
I like the pun.
Yeah, but no, I don't know. Shure's just a badass company. They make amazing mics, industry standard.
Well, it's great. I mean, let's be real. You spend $100, you have a microphone that's going to last you how long? We've had it since high school.
Yeah.
Over 10 years
Yep.
later. Like, yeah.
So were you guys all playing with each other when you were in college still, or was there a bit of a break?
So we took a hiatus because, I mean, going through like different college apartments and whatnot. I think Ab and I went to a different school freshman year than Mike and Andreas. Eventually, junior year, we all ended up at Florida State. And again, still didn't really have, they could play, but I didn't have a place to put my drums that wouldn't get me in trouble.
Where's Florida State again? Sorry, I'm not
Tallahassee.
from around here. Not originally anyway. Oh, that's
Tallahassee.
right.
Yeah,
I've
up
been
in the
up there.
capital.
Yeah, my wife had a friend who went there and we went to visit.
Yeah.
Had a good time actually. Tallahassee's a good
it's
laugh.
kinda
It's
the
pretty
wild.
nasty. The
Yeah.
nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so we didn't have any place to play realistically. So we kind of just focusing on school and whatnot. And then I, believe it or not, joined a fraternity, and then they had a basement. So at one point I asked them, like, "Hey, you guys cool if I put my drums down here?" They're like, "Yeah, just, at your own risk," kind of thing. I'm like, "All right, whatever." So I put it down there, and there was like, I think 2 or 3 times we kind of like got together and we played down there for a little bit just to fuck around, but like,
It didn't get serious.
yeah,
Right.
it didn't get serious. And then when we graduated and moved back, we all got jobs and whatnot, and we decided, hey, let's revive the band.
That's
You
cool.
know, let's
I love it.
get
It's
it back
just like
together.
the story of some really close friends, and you've been kept together by music. It's
Yeah.
really, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes me very happy, and I think that music does that often. It's one of the best things you can do with your friends, and in a way, it brings you closer together. There's certain things you can't really explain or say, but then they just through playing the music, it's a very bonding experience.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
love it.
100%.
Yeah, it's one of the, it's my favorite thing to do, and luckily for me, I've been able to, I now do it for a living, which is just really, it's a dream come true. Honestly,
Yep.
wake up every day and count my lucky stars for that. That's for sure.
Hell
I
yeah.
think it's every little boy's dream.
Yeah, yeah, totally. That or like Spaceman.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's a spaceman. I wonder if there's an astronaut who is also in a band.
I wouldn't
There's
put it
gotta
past him.
Yeah, totally.
Honestly, I
He's the
wouldn't
dude
put it
that plays
past him.
guitar in space. I don't know his name, but there's like videos of him playing guitar in the ship.
Is he the guy who went up in the Russian?
It might have been.
Yeah, he's an American guy who went up in the Russian thing and he has like a shaved head. Is that guy? Doesn't matter. I'll figure it
I
out.
think we'll YouTube it
No
later.
Jamie, pull that up.
yeah, exactly. So that's cool. So now you're all together and you're called Eastway. That's been for about what? Like getting on for 2 years, is it?
Yeah, 2, almost 3, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been playing as Eastway for 3. We picked the name probably 2 years ago.
Was it
Yeah.
what like everyone? Like it kind of happened in the pandemic.
Yeah.
It
think
was a little
so.
before that.
It was a little
Oh,
before
It was
yeah.
that.
before.
Little
It was a
before
little before that. Yeah, it was a little before that. We actually, so one of the main reasons we decided besides us like just talking to each other, and be like, hey, let's get the band back together and do it, and we're all on board. I was bartending down in Boca, and the owner of the place, he actually has his like office and his brands. He has all his warehouse down the street. So, and he offered to me because I told him we were looking for a space to put our stuff. Offered us like a portion of his warehouse to set up in, and it was charged $250 a month. We're like, okay, that's chump change. We're like, why not? And then it was
Yeah.
a great setup. He took out all his workout equipment. So we had like the rubber flooring too, so it was great. Like Didn't have to put a drum mat or anything down. It was just spiked right into the floor.
Oh, that's awesome.
And yeah, he had a full bar in there and everything. So
Oh,
it was,
damn.
we had some fun, but yeah, eventually we had to grow up and get our own space, and now we've been in that space less than a year. But
Where's that? Like, is it?
so
where
we
you
are
guys practicing?
actually in a warehouse space, like 500 feet from a local brewery called Prosperity Brewers down in
Okay.
Boca. So
Cool.
like it's,
Shout out Prosperity.
Yeah, shout out Prosperity.
Yeah.
It's we're like, we share the alleyway with them. So like we open up our door and we walk through their back door. It's right there.
Oh, that's sick.
Good. It's like Spanish River and Dixie.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah, like right before Dixie.
Got it. Yeah, I haven't spent a huge amount of time in Boca. I played there, off and on. So the Dubliner is that was that? Isn't there two, one in Boca and one in Del Rey at one point?
So there was one in Boca a long time ago. There's one in Fort Lauderdale, but just didn't on Los Olas, I believe, and it just didn't do well, so they shut it down.
Okay, so the one I'm thinking about is the Boca one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you guys played there, right?
We did, yeah. I mean, they're no longer open, but yeah, we played there twice. Yeah, and it was a blast.
Well, it's definitely because as a band that's kind of punk alternative type thing, like a show band, so like a multiple bands on a bill style of a band. It's pretty cool that you could hold down 2 hours. I respect that. It's not an easy thing to do. How did you end up getting that gig?
Well, actually, it's the owner of the bar I worked at. It's the same owner, the Dubliner, as the bar I worked at, because they shared the courtyard together. So he was like, he's like, hey, when are you guys ready to play a show? And we're like, I don't know yet. And then we're like, okay. And eventually he's like, all right, guys, like, I'm gonna send you up for a show. Let's do it. I'm like, okay, cool. So he paid us, which was great. And yeah, it was his bar. So we just walked in one night, set up, and played like on Friday or Saturday night the first time.
That's sick.
I think the second time, same thing.
The reason I brought it up is because for one reason or another, we just couldn't get arrested in there. Like they just wouldn't have us. For like 10
keep
years,
giving you beers.
I was trying to play there, and they wouldn't have us. But I think to some people they would think that like Killbillies is like this sort of very traditional kind of Irish type of a thing, which we do have that side to us, but it's not it's not the whole thing. And I know that like the Dublin was specifically not trying to be a traditional Irish bar. They wanted like more kind of pop and rock and stuff like that. And so there was just this barrier to, they can get past thinking like, oh, we have this rule that we don't have traditional Irish bands, which was a total bummer. And we tried every angle to get in there.
Really?
yeah. Drove me nuts.
That's surprising.
I'm kind of surprised.
You guys were perfect for there.
I'm saying.
Especially
we
on the
played
St.
so many-
Patty's Day or something like that. Come on.
I know. I don't know what that was about. Anyway, it's not there anymore, so
No.
who cares, I
It's
guess.
going to be a pizza place now, which is no
You
stage
do
there
love
anymore.
bands.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a shame. You always need a ton of places to play. That's a bit of a bummer. I guess you can never have too much pizza in life, though.
Yeah, that's true.
No, you
This is
can't.
true.
Meisner needs pizza.
We're Italian, so yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
You're Italian.
Well, Nick and I, yeah. Adam's probably got some in him.
I'm married to.
I'm
an Italian.
Irish.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I mean, I'm about a third Irish. My dad's mom is Irish.
Nice.
And yeah. All right.
There you go.
That's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah. So, when it comes to writing songs, do you have like an approach to it? Is there some kind of method to the madness?
I basically I'm usually writing the songs, and we'll try to do like a collaborative method. A lot of the time now, it's been like I'm just riffing on guitar, like playing rhythm riffs and whatever, and I'll usually come up with a riff and then try to fit a vocal melody in there, which could work sometimes very well, and then sometimes you're trying to fit in like nonsense words to like this vocal melody you're thinking of. So like you don't want to do that obviously, but sometimes it does actually work.
Sure.
Other times, like it's like maybe you think of a one-line thing that could be a chorus or could be a verse that just kind of fits well into a song. And then other times, like we're just kind of jamming, and like, the styles we incorporate where it's like more indie or reggae or psychedelic or whatever, we'll start a jam out, clean guitars, layer the, effects on the guitars, and start out kind of slow and low, and then build up into a more kind of almost like a thrash metal thing, or like
Sure.
like a, heavier thing. So we'll go from, light rock to hard rock in that regard. And then, I could just throw some lyrics over the top of whatever we're playing, and it's kind of like...
So you build the music and then figure out the lyrics
Exactly.
later. Yeah.
That's usually... The music usually comes first. I mean,
I feel like we stole that kind of like style, like not meaning to, from back when we were like really heavy into reggae was from one of like those California like skate reggae bands, Expendables.
Yeah.
And a lot of their songs, a lot of like their crazier songs, like that slow build reggae, and all of a sudden it just kicks in, and they go into like that
Turns into
80s
metal.
hair metal, like just
yeah.
like ripping solos and stuff, and kind of just gets crazy. So I feel like we kind of like indirectly have like kind of taken that format to a certain degree, and I think that's like somehow some of our songs sound like that.
I'd say Mike's written probably 90% of the material we have.
Okay.
Like a lot of times he'll come with a riff and a vocal melody, and we just kind of build that into a song.
Yeah, that's very, that's a pretty common. I've been doing this now we're getting on for 100 episodes, and what I usually find is that there's usually one or two people who are the principal songwriters, and they come with like a nugget, and then the rest of the band fleshes it out, expands it, and that's pretty common way to do it. And but something which isn't quite so common is that it is the idea of sort of building this idea and then figuring out how the vocals fit into that afterwards. And I think that's quite interesting. And I'm sure a lot of people do it like that. But I think when I'm writing songs, it's either the first way we were talking about, where you come with the kernel, the little like the nug of the song, and then you figure it out from there. Because that is often the hardest bit, it's like, because the little nugget of the song contains what it's about, the vibe of it, and like the lion's share of the chord sequences. So that's really the hardest bit, and sometimes that just requires inspiration. You just got to go, oh yeah, or you're walking down the street and humming something. You're like, oh, that's not a thing. Is that my thing? Yeah.
There's been very rare, but like sometimes there'll be, we're just jamming, I'll start playing a drum riff that I like, and just start playing a groove, and then sometimes we'll kind of form something off of that, but it's usually not the case. Yeah, I'm usually just like, all right, what's this? I'll just plug in and figure something out along the way.
It's like 4 or 5 chords and a vocal, like one vocal melody line, and then we just build on both sides of it.
It's primarily Mike writing, and then Andreas is the other portion who will write in the guitar and some of the lyrics too.
Cool. Yeah, it's a shame all of you guys couldn't have been here. Andreas is on guitar as well, right?
Yeah, he's our lead guitarist.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, I can't wait to see you guys play. I've never seen you play, so I'm really looking forward to the festival. I'm going to be really enjoying it. The everything I've seen looks badass, so I think I'm assuming I'm going to love it at this point in time.
I hope so.
Yeah, we hope you do.
So. And we'll be with you guys too at May 20th at Prosperity, the Long Live the Scene showcase that our good friend of the pod, Ricky's doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's like 7-8 bands that day, and I honestly, I think it's going to be one of the biggest shows Prosperity's had for sure.
For sure, yeah, no doubt. And I mean, we talk about Ricky a lot on here with good reason, because he does so much great work. And I even wrote about him yesterday because I was talking about the scene, and when I was there, like typing, nice things about Ricky. He and I have just started to do a little ska project, which is kind of fun.
Oh, that's
like
exciting.
like a trad ska project.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like kind of Jamaican ska type stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is he singing on there?
I'm sure he will end up doing some singing, but at the moment it's me.
Cool.
But yeah,
Can't wait to hear that.
Yeah, it should be pretty fun. But no, I love that guy. Just for for many reasons, but his hustle and how much he actually cares, which is, it's rare for someone to have genuine empathy in this world.
Yeah, he's doing a lot to try to promote and push the local music scene, which I appreciate, because we don't do that at all ourselves. We're just a part of it, but it's nice to have someone who's on your side who's really trying to get it going in the local scene. So.
Yeah, 100%. And I feel
nice.
like, and he'll freely sort of admit this, that there was this epiphanal moment when in the last festival where he was just like, this is amazing, the scene's gonna, I've got to be doing more for the scene. And since then, he's just gone tearing out of the stocks, and he's been doing so much stuff. I mean, it's really awesome.
I remember first meeting him, it was,
at Prosperity, right?
No, I met him like 3 years ago or something like that.
Oh.
Not even realizing who he was. He was drumming for a reggae band called Reggae Lou and the Kind Buds.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, with that, and they had what's his face from this Adam Sandler movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was like singing with them. But yeah, I first met him because I was working at Papa's Raw Bar down in Lighthouse Point, and they played there. And I first met him, and I was like, I just like, yeah, he seems like a cool guy. And then there was one day at a local Boca like tavern, they just showed up one night and I was drinking and they were like, oh, they were started playing. I'm like, yo, dude, I met you, this and that. And he was like, okay. And then like fast forward to now, it's like to see like now we're like friends and play together, and it's like just going from like a reggae drummer to like now they're doing this crazy. I don't even know what they call their genre, but just the shake itself. It's just and he's on guitar and lead vocals. It's kind of a whole crazy like
cool.
turnaround.
I love their music.
Yeah, we love the shake.
Yeah. So how did you? So that's how you ended up getting on that gig then? His previous festival.
Yeah, it was. Well, I mean, he's trying to do more events like that, but yeah, I mean, he's like Rick. He's just credible person, credible musician. Like he's kind of taken us under his wing and just kind of given us the exposure and marketed our band. And
you
like
were
I
on
said,
the Long Live the Scene compilation as well, right?
we were on the Long Live the Scene with Fuakata and Buck Stops Here, Dominic, Delaney, and then Billy Doom was on there as well. I mean, it was a sick comp, and I'm stoked for the second one.
Yeah, I've heard it. It is dope. And I'm on the... Killbillies is on the next one.
Yo,
So
on the
that's
next one.
right.
Yeah, that Rocky's producing. And I mean, those guys work so good together. And yeah, I mean, we were stoked to kind of meet him. And like I said, as soon as I saw the video for Fire, I knew that they were sick.
Yeah.
And after we played, the first show we played with them is about Prosperity. And we were talking after the show and just talking about shows and stuff like that. And the first show I had gone to, like on my own without my parents, was at Revolution with my friend Andreas and our friend Jack. And we saw the Flatliners, Expendables, and Less Than Jake, 3 bands we all love. And there was this opening band called Scuff Shoes, a ska band that opened for everybody. And I had mentioned that, and like Ricky was just like, oh, and I was just like, well, were you there? He's like, dude, that was my band. And I was just like, bro, that was the first fucking show that I ever went to. It was just like a full circle moment thing where it's just like, that's crazy.
The world
Like,
just gets smaller and
it just
smaller.
proves how long he's been doing it, putting in work, and it's just like,
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. Big up.
Big up, Ricky.
So, you're practicing over at your warehouse, but when you're individually, do you guys sit at home and practice your instruments?
Yeah, I'll sit there with my bass and just
you
play
doing like
along
scales and stuff, or?
Nah, not really. I'm mostly just playing along and trying to get like my timing and my tightness like as tight as we can get.
Yeah, cool.
So that's honestly, I think that's my favorite thing about us is like how tight we can be. We basically like read each other's minds because we've been together for so long. Like all these non-vocal cues and our behavioral cues, like that's what I really try to like get tight on.
we got the chemistry. Like one of our friends, Tom, like at first we would just like, when we had 3 guitars especially, we would just kind of like turn up the volume over each other. And like at a certain point, maybe more towards high school, he's just like, like you guys used to just like play over each other. And it's like, it's not like that anymore. Like you have the chemistry now, and it's just like learning how to read each other and learning kind of how to play with each other rather than, because we're just turning up the amps over everybody.
Oh, yeah, I know what that's
how it
like.
was at
I've been there, mate. Yeah. It's that's just something you grow out of, maturity thing. Some people don't, but you would hope that people grow out of that. Yeah. What about you, man? Are you practicing at home?
I'm practicing at home. I have my my little Black Star modulation amp, so I have I don't have to bring my pedal board home. I'll just have all the built-in effects and everything.
I love the Black Star stuff.
They're good. I have a 50-watt like HT50, and then we just upgraded to the orange rocker verbs, which is just like
cool.
So I'm thinking of eventually running the stereo rig or something, get a little more high frequency because the orange is so fat. But
I've been there. I've done it before, and it is it's exhilarating.
it is. Like
I feel like just I don't know, like so powerful. You got sound coming from everywhere.
Everyone's just like, once you go stereo rig, you can't go back. It's just never the same after that.
Yeah,
so.
totally. Yeah, something I've been thinking about. There's this band called String Assassins that play kind of bluegrass and stuff like that in the area, and they have stereo sound. Not like 2 cabs on either side because it's bluegrass, but they're mixing in stereo, and it's something that Killbillies hasn't done, but I feel like it might be an interesting experiment, just to have, especially with the guitar, having 2 different signals and spreading it out over the speakers. It's something I really want to experiment with because it would be easy to experiment with it because you do have 2 speakers and all you could do is pan some stuff. I don't know why we don't do it, but I'm going to get it. That's one of my newer things. That and it maybe finally broached the whole in-ear monitor thing.
Same here with that, honestly.
Yeah.
Like most of the bands we play with have the in-ears. I know the Shake, the entire band uses them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we definitely need them.
We need them because like we play in a 300 square foot warehouse, and like we have like ear protection that maybe reduces like 20 decibels, but it's just like I
mean,
feel
we're
like,
playing at 100 plus decibels
Yeah.
every time we're in there. It's a lot.
Oh, I know.
Like, we have a
yeah.
box of like disposable earplugs for anyone who comes in to hang out. We're like, here, put these
almost
in.
empty.
They're like, I'm good. I'm like, no, you're gonna want to put those in.
So I've definitely got some hearing. I'm like an old man in comparison to you guys. I'm in my 40s, but I've definitely got some hearing loss from all the years of playing really, really loud music. And I produce music, and what I find now, it's not that I can't hear what I need to hear. It's my ears get tired. It's like if I'm doing it for hours and hours on end, I just have to take a break because I'm not hearing things correctly anymore. I think that's been the biggest thing. But the worst thing that happened to my hearing was I was in a rehearsal one time, and there was a speaker, and the Layla, who was the singer in Sonic Boom 6, didn't realize that the mixer was just all pegged, like up to 11 on everything, and she turned it on. It was a mistake anyone could have made. She just wasn't concentrating, turned it on. I was stood right next to the speaker, and I think I perforated my eardrum because I had like this whip, like,
Yeah,
and then
sounds about that, right?
then afterwards I had like tinnitus in one ear pretty badly, but
Oof.
that's kind of gone away now. I think it just had to repair itself, but you got to look after your ears.
Yeah,
Yep.
I've gotten super into, even like the other night when we played that show at Tough Times, like I had earplugs in my pocket. Immediately after our show, I put them on
Yeah.
for the other
it's a
bands.
small
It
little- small
didn't
little
seem
venue.
as loud when we were up there playing, but when you're standing in front of all the amps afterwards, I was like, I need these in.
and you were
Yeah.
against the wall too, so that sound
Yeah.
just hitting that wall and reverberating right back into your
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I wear them when I go to shows now too, and I still don't wear them on stage. I know a lot of people who do, but I feel like I'm in this like tiny little box if I do that.
Yeah,
But
same here.
yeah. It just kind of takes me out of the energy of the room. But I'd be interested to see what it's like with the monitors, though. I don't know. I'm going to try that. That's the next thing for sure. So what about you, man? You practicing at home?
No. So I have my old drum kit at home, but I mean, me and my wife's apartment, we don't have space for me to set that up and play, and I'm not trying to piss my neighbors off.
Sure.
But no, I for a while I would just go to our band warehouse because when I was bartending, so my schedule was open during the day most of the time. So some days I'll just go and bring a bottle of water and just play drums, mess around a little bit. Not putting headphones on, just kind of come up with like grooves and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I haven't done it in a little bit just because my landlord needed the key, one of our keys. So now I'm out of a key. I'm still waiting for these guys to get me there so I can copy it. But yeah, I was doing that. But no, I don't have I have no like electronic kit or drum pad. I mean, I'll play along with my hands, but it's not the same.
Yeah, I just got an electronic kit. I have a lot of fun with that. It's cool. But because I've been really getting into playing the drums lately, there's this band BFD who so the banjo player in Killbillies, James, he has a punk rock band called Butch and the Fat Dubes, but it's called BFD now. I think maybe just because it's kind of I don't know, they shortened it or whatever. I have joined it, and I now play on the drums in that band. So I went crazy getting all of these drums and stuff, and I've been practicing at home. A lot of fun.
Yeah, it's fun. I'll put you back some money though.
Yeah, it's like for real, yeah. But it's it's physical. It's more physical than other instruments.
Oh, it's a workout. We'll go since we're like punk forward. We'll go even just in our warehouse, like jamming and practicing. We'll get like 2 songs in, and I'm already sweating. I'm already like, I'm like, can we take 5? They're like, dude, it's 2 songs. I'm like, I know, but it's hot in here. I'm sweating. I'm like, you guys
Set
aren't
the AC
working
to,
out.
like,
You guys are
62.
just sitting there strumming and standing. You can sit down. I'm moving all 4 limbs like I ran like a 5K, but
Yeah.
The shirt
it's all
comes
part of the
off.
fun.
Yeah, totally. I think that's partly why I'm looking forward to doing it, just because of the sheer physicality of it, it's kind of satisfying in a way. Do you guys, how diligent are you with like social media and stuff like that? Have you been utilizing that to your benefit of late?
So we were really bad about it ourselves because, we're just not good.
Yeah.
Bunch of 29-year-old dudes, not really good with social media. But my wife has actually taken over one of our biggest supporters, and
There you go.
and Mike's younger brother Matt. They both have been instrumental in that. They've really taken over the social media, helped like posting stuff, plugging everything like that. They're both our Mike's little brother Matt's basically like our video editor, and non-declared like band manager. He's been helping all that, and my wife does a lot of our photography. She did the
Nice.
artwork for one of our first merch runs we did. So yeah, they've been
Awesome.
instrumental. Without them, we kind of be.
I tell you what,
blip.
like it doesn't. Some people can do it all sort of like just with the people who play the instruments, but having some other people around really helps. The Danielle who does the social media for this podcast, and she does it for Killbillies as well. It's like night and day how much better it is now. Like, it was just me struggling through, just posting things sporadically and never doing it properly. Now Danielle's everyday consistent content. It's just been amazing.
Right. I mean, it's a full-time job. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it is, and it's not really so. It's not something to take lightly. I tell you what, is such a relief as well, because the problem is like when you start getting overwhelmed and you feel like there's just too much to do, you end up like doing less. Like I don't know about you, but that's what happens with me. I just get, I start procrastinating on everything. If I have a huge pile of stuff to do and I can't see over it or around it, then I end up doing none of it, you know? And so just having one thing taken off my plate has just been massive. I love it.
Yeah. And there's also like the social media meta, like the things to do. It's like I haven't had Instagram or Facebook in like 10 years.
Yeah.
So like I installed Instagram for the band and started like clicking around, but like it's all different.
Yeah.
They're like, we got to make a reel. I'm like, what the hell's a reel?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you got to have people that are like, that know the meta, basically like what you're supposed to post. And that's not me, but
I'm impressed you didn't have
me.
it for 10 years. I wish I had not had it for 10 years.
Facebook, Instagram, I'll send Snapchats every once in a while, but that's about it.
Yeah. No, that's actually cool. I think I respect you a little more than I did before knowing that.
Hell yeah.
That's pretty badass. All right. Well, listen, I think that now would be a good time to listen to one of your songs. You up for that?
Yeah,
Let's
why
do it.
not?
This episode and our festival are sponsored by Pure Honey magazine, and it is a staple down here. It's been just such a resource for South Florida music scene. Why don't you tell us a little bit about them, Ollie?
Yes, back in 2011, they went old school with the physical zine that provides both a service to the South Florida scene and a vehicle for businesses to get their messages out to a growing segment of readers who continue to embrace and admire a retro product.
Yeah, it's really cool. I don't know if you've ever read Pure Honey magazine. I'm sure you have. They're all over the place, and they're really great.
Yeah. Pure Honey has been around for quite a while now, and it is an absolute resource for musicians, for music, for shows. They have an amazing online calendar. They have an amazing calendar in the physical magazine. It's just been a huge resource for shows and musicians. And we are very, very fortunate. They reached out to us when they saw we were doing our festival for the second time this year, and they reached out to us and immediately said, we want to sponsor. How do we get involved? So having someone like Pure Honey involved in 561 Music Festival is absolutely gold to us.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes us feel official. So thank you, Pure Honey. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much, and big props to Pure Honey for stepping up and sponsoring us. This episode and the festival are also sponsored by Backstaber Chiropractic Care and Therapy. These guys are absolutely amazing. Dr. Christopher White over there, great chiropractor, amazing just individual, amazing person, huge supporter of the arts and the local music scene. They were one of the very few sponsors, one of the only almost sponsors that we had for the first festival. When we had the first festival, Dr. Chris White stepped up to the plate and said, "How do I get involved? I'm going to do this. Let's do this." And was one of the purchased one of the top tier sponsorships that we had for the festival last year.
So kind. We couldn't have done it without it. It really saved us. So we really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And this year, when we announced the festival, I don't think I had even finished the announcement that the festival was going to happen, and he was reaching out again. How do I get involved? Let's do this again. And once again, they are our top tier sponsor. So, thank you very much to Chris and his whole team over there. If you guys are involved in an auto accident or any personal injury issues, you have back issues, anything like that, go see Dr. Chris White. He's absolutely amazing, and Backsaver. Those guys are all amazing over there. They do the massage therapy, they do the adjustments on your back, anything like that. So definitely go check them out and tell them we sent you, and tell them thank you for being huge sponsors of local music.
Yeah, excellent chiropractors and also patrons of the arts. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
561 Music is sponsored by Handlebars Bar and Grill. We have been sponsored by Handlebars for a long time now. They've been incredibly supportive of the podcast. There's been a lot of changes up there. Now the food is supplied by world-famous McRae's Backyard Barbecue. That's 1977. McRae's Barbecue is fantastic food. The first one I went to was down Riviera Beach, and it is really some killer barbecue. So if you're looking for delicious food, somewhere to ride your bike out on a Saturday or Sunday, and delicious beers, then Handlebars has got it all for you. We're so happy to have McRae's involved with the whole thing because they're really up the game in terms of the food. There is a bike night every second Thursday of the month, and Handlebars is open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Come check out Handlebars in Tequesta, just off US 1. Hope to see you there. We are also sponsored by Oasis Root. Now, Oasis Root Carver Bar is in Sea Grape Square on Indian Town Road, and it is a Carver bar. If you don't know anything about Carver, it's a Polynesian root that you grind up and you mix with water, and it has been in Polynesia for potentially thousands of years. It's an old thing that they used for kind of ceremonial and also sort of leisure purposes. It's meant to be something where that brings people together. You all take a shell of Carver and chink them together and say bula and have it together like that. It's meant to be something to bring people together. It's has a kind of an effect, which is, I guess, a kind of a slightly warming effect. It just kind of makes you feel nice. It's not particularly intoxicating. It's not like drinking alcohol. So the atmosphere in a Carver bar is sort of like a cross between a regular bar and a coffee house. It's pretty chill in there. You get all sorts of different types of Carver bars. Some of them are more like a club, you know, there's sort of like black light and EDM playing. And some of them are more like a cafe. This is one of the cafe type of ones. It's super chill in there. If you're looking for somewhere to, I don't know, maybe go and do some work on your laptop or go and have a chat with friends, it's perfect for that kind of thing. There's a foosball table in there if that's your jam, or baby-foot as they call it in France. And yeah, Jim, the owner, is a really cool guy, and he has very kindly sponsored our podcast. So thank you very, very much for that, Jim. They also do a poker night in there, all sorts of things going on at Oasis Route Carver Bar. 561 Music is sponsored by Live Music Community. It's where we film the podcast that you're listening to right now, and it's also where I work. Gavin, Hector's son, was a student here for a long time, and in many ways he's the musician he is today because of the teachers at Live Music Community. We taught him not only about his instrument, but also about being in a band, and his band, Unemployed Youth, accomplished a lot of goals, mostly band etiquette, how to work together, and all of the nitty-gritty that goes into being in a band on a day-to-day basis. The student signs up for lessons, learns their instrument, joins a real band, and decides the direction it goes in. And we can take people from very young age, 6 or 7 years old, all the way up to 80. There's no age limit here. We run an adult program for people who want to be in a band as adults, but really the main focus is on the kids and getting them playing together and in bands. We are also a studio, a live stream venue, and we can record audio or video. The Killbillies live album, Warts and All, was recorded here. It was recorded during a live stream that we did during COVID. Justin had a great idea to record live streams during COVID. A ton of bands came in, and it was a real success. But outside of that, we can record albums, we can help you with your EPK, and we have full audio-visual capabilities here. LMC is in Palm Beach Gardens on the northwest corner of Military Trail and North Lake Boulevard. It's north of the gas station, right before you get to North Lake on Military Trail. And if you go to livemusiccommunity.com, you have all the information you'll need right there. Thanks. All right, so as per usual, we've just been listening to a ad for Live Music Community, one of our sponsors, and the place that I work at. And it is a music school and a place where we're trying to, help people get into the world of live music and play and be in bands. So do you have any advice for aspiring musicians, guys?
Yeah, just practice. It sounds cliche, but practice. It's, especially for a drummer, if you just kind of go out lackadaisically, it's just, you're never going to get better. You just got to go out of your comfort zone, just practice, just try different things.
Yeah.
That's like the biggest thing, just stick with it.
Yeah, stick with it. I've said this a million times before on the show, but something that James said which resonated with me. James, the banjo player in our band, and he's a bass player as well. He plays all sorts of different things, but he said the difference between someone who's a musician and someone who isn't is they're still doing it. You just got to keep doing it. I think that's the most important thing above anything else. Yeah, you got any other pearls of wisdom?
To that point, like, if you're an aspiring drummer, like, drum in the car, like, play music and drum along with it. Like, that's where I've learned how to play the drums, honestly.
My middle school teachers hated me because it's like constantly playing drums with your hands on the desk, and I'm just like, what? And like, what are you doing? I'm like, sorry, it's just
the
it's
desk.
just habit.
Yeah.
Pay attention to the road, but definitely drum. Also, if you're aspiring to play a string instrument, 2 things. Guitar Hero. It gets your finger muscles like up to speed.
A lot of people have said that on here, actually.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
I think it's a lot of people our age.
Yeah,
like,
it just
like,
gets
that's
your
when I
brain and
first-
your
when we were,
fingers like
younger when it
connected.
came out.
Yeah, totally.
And also just put in headphones and play along with your favorite song until you can play it perfectly.
Yep.
Yeah, look up
man.
tabs, anything you can do.
Yeah, the tabs nowadays, like, you can find anything. So
You got anything to add to that, Mike?
I think, like, with stringed instruments, as far as that goes, like I said, Adam had convinced me that I didn't think I could have the muscle memory to kind of, remember chords and everything, but it's like, start with just one note, just go up and down the neck, kind of explore a little bit. Eventually you'll get used to the muscle memory, and it's a lot easier than it actually seems to get into it and just kind of progress. And
Yeah.
it's like, I think we were all on and off with guitar lessons and everything, but like mostly self-taught, just kind of spent trial and error, just, fretting different notes and just kind of exploring. You get one of those little chord books and everything, and you kind of just put your fingers into place. I mean, anyone could do it, to be honest.
Yeah, totally. I think with guitar, it doesn't take that long to make an okay sound of it, but then the sky's the limit. It's like a lifelong journey of
Exactly.
how much better you can get at
Yeah,
it.
I mean, learn the basics, rudiments for drums, strings, anything. I mean, if you're a singer, just start singing, start practicing. I mean, like, find people who are already doing it and try to get their advice and whatnot. Just stick with it. I mean, it's like you're never gonna get progress unless you actually keep playing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I guess it's the same thing with working out. You're not gonna see results day 2, but a month later, you start noticing some changes. So it's the same thing with music. I mean, just stick with it. You're not going to notice a difference after day 3, but a month later, you're like, wow, okay, I'm not terrible. Like, this is actually something I keep doing.
And also, like, YouTube nowadays, like, YouTube is nothing like it is now, back when we were learning.
Yeah.
But now there's, like, you type in a song with the word cover afterwards, there's like 100 people covering it.
Mm-hmm.
You can also see the actual artist playing it live. So it's like,
Yeah.
if you want to learn something, like, you have the resources to learn it.
Yeah,
basically.
when I'm teaching people how to play songs, if they say they want to play a certain song and they want to do a cover of a song, if it's sort of singer-songwriter type acoustic guitar people, we'll listen to the song and then we'll watch someone do it on YouTube. We'll watch the artist do it, and then we'll look up 2 or 3 covers of other people doing it to get ideas, and then we'll kind of find our version that way. You're right, YouTube is great, and the amount of time I spend on YouTube doing music related things, especially like guitar exercises and stuff, there's just reams and reams of that stuff. Now I'm doing the hurdy-gurdy too. There's a ton of hurdy-gurdy stuff on there. I know, it's a ludicrous instrument. I can't believe
Tell us
it.
more about this hurdy-gurdy.
Yeah,
Oh,
I've
so-
heard of it.
I would love to. So
Do you have one here?
yeah, no, I didn't bring it. I usually do. I normally bring it in here because I am practicing the hell out of it. But it's really cool. It's like, if you can imagine a cross between like a bagpipe and like the violin. So it's a wheel.
So it's a string instrument.
It's a string instrument. You turn it like this, and it has drone strings. But then one of the strings is fretted with little keys, and so it has this kind of bass of a drone, and then you play over the top of the drone. But it also has this little buzzing piece of wood that is attached to the crank, and if you turn it hard, it goes zzz. So you can go like zing, 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 zing. It's crazy. This is super cool.
Should be on Kill Billy's next album for sure.
Oh yeah, there's no way it's not going to be, whether the guys like it or not.
Hell yeah.
But getting back to what I was saying about James's point is, another thing he was saying is that persistence is really important because, even if you go and play a show and there's like 2 or 3 people there, you could get a couple of fans out of that show that will come and see you forever, So it's just persistence and just looking at things as like a slow progression, a journey, rather than just really spinning out about like one gig or, it's more about like, it's fighting the war, not the battle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually could be harder because if you could play to like 2 or 3 people, you could play to thousands because it's kind of could be more awkward playing to a smaller crowd
For sure
Yeah,
it
you
is.
got all eyes are on you.
Yeah.
You're at a
Everyone-
personal level. Yeah, for
than
sure.
it is just like a big crowd. So it's like that's what we felt like a revolution. Like when we even got announced for that show and had the primetime slot on the main stage. Because like I said, I saw my first show there. And I was like paranoid about that for months and months in advance. But it's like you realize things like that. And when we were about to go on stage, it was just like the nerves were gone and it was just fine. And then it was just figuring out how to use like the Marshall. I think it was like a JVM half stack. I had no fucking idea how to use
Right.
it. I think I turned like the distortion on and then just like rolled back my volume to get it like a clean tone.
Yeah.
So it was just like didn't even mess with the foot switch or anything.
Gotcha.
But that show was probably like a couple hundred people, and like I said, people were excited and like moshing and everything, and it was
we
just
were
like
15.
it was
by the
like
way.
like 15.
Yeah,
16.
what
Our
a
brothers
buzz.
drove us to our show.
Yeah, it was a dream come true.
It's definitely easier to play in front of bigger crowds than, like you said, two like people.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you feed off the energy.
Exactly.
It's if everyone's there to have a good time, there's a bunch of people. They're going to have a good time regardless, unless you are just terrible. That could be a
It
bit of a
definitely
problem.
happens.
Yeah,
We've been there too. But,
yeah, totally. So we just listened to a song of you guys. Could you tell us a little bit about it?
So yeah, the first song, I don't know if we played both songs. The first song was called Crossed. That's going to be our debut single that's coming out soon. We just uploaded it to DistroKid, so we could pre-save the link on there, and we're going to get it out. I think April 12th is going to be the release date on all the streaming platforms.
Right.
And it's a song we've worked on with our friend Greg Greenberg, who's in a couple other bands, and we were friends with in college and kind of reconnected with after, and we've been working with him on that, and he's done an incredible job. But it's really, it's about, I think, like negative side effects of drinking and drugs, and it's just like I want people to hear the lyrics and be like, this just sounds fucking miserable, like miserable, like it's just like spinning, getting the spins and being crossfaded and just like getting sick over it. It's just like not, it's just not fun.
Well, you're preaching to the choir over here. I totally agree with that. Yeah, it took me a very long time to realize that, unfortunately.
Well,
and yeah, I guess we're gonna put both of them on there. So, what's the other one?
The other one's called SFL. That's just about how overpopulated South Florida is becoming, and I usually commute for work every day, and it's just like I'm usually going down for like Fort Lauderdale, Miami, and to just see like the sheer like amount of people that are down here now, and just like the effects traffic causes, and just like the way people drive and the way just everywhere is becoming overpopulated. Like there's a lyric about just like Miami just like sinking into the ocean and just stuff like, it's typical like Florida band stuff, but it's like really like we're Florida natives, and we've just like my parents, when they first lived in Boca, it was kind of like a small beach town, and now it's becoming more high rises and more like Fort Lauderdale, Miami type vibe. And
look at
they just
Jupiter
hate it
these days.
Yep.
Jupiter is just the same. Like it's sort of like Boynton now.
Exactly.
It's like busy.
Yep.
It's crazy. And even when I appreciate that I'm part of the problem because I've been here for around 12 years, but I have been here for 12 years now, and I've seen the change, and it's been a big one. Honestly.
You're a native now, so
yeah, I'll take it. But yeah, I've seen it. Thank you. I've seen it change though, and a lot in just that short amount of time. Because stuff does change in England, but it takes a lot longer. You know, and here you can almost see it happening, like in front of your eyes.
And Mike does work in construction, so you're kind of part of the problem.
Yeah. there is lines about overbuilding. I mean, I do like interior renovations and stuff, so it's existing structures, but still.
There you go. There you go. That's not part of the problem. That's good stuff.
Yeah, remodeling, but
that's something that always irritated me, is that you'll have all of these crumbled down old strip malls and things, then I built a brand new one right next to this one that no one's using. It's like, what? I mean, I know why, but it's just a shame,
Yeah, unless there's like structural concerns, just repurpose it.
I'm saying,
we'll do it for you.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. A good plug. You got
shameless plug. Yeah.
That's cool. I didn't know you're into construction. That's badass. Yeah, cool. So we've got some of your gear that we're going to take a look at. Could you bring something up on the screen there? So could you tell us a little bit about this kit?
Yeah, so I had the same kit up until last year, and I finally pulled the trigger on a new kit, and it's actually a shout out to a good friend, Garrett, owns a pizza place called How You Doing? Down in Boca.
How you doing?
And he was in on he was in on one of our practices, just hanging out, whatever, and nonchalantly mentions oh yeah, by the way, my best friend owns Sam Ash. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like the one at Margate? He's like, no, like the entire company. I'm like,
that's
oh
wild.
Shit, okay. So I got his contact info. Long story short, I got Adam Ash's personal number. So he gave me I got this kit finally for, I saved like $1,000. So I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna pull the trigger and do it. So I mean, I love it now. I mean, I actually, in the picture, you have all 5 pieces. I actually took off the bigger tom, so I just rocked the one tom, the floor, and the snare and the kick. But yeah, right. I love it. It sounds great. I've wanted a DW since I was a kid, so
yeah, I have a DW too. I just got, and I've been very much enjoying it. It's not the same vibe. It's a smaller kit, but the good drums. That's for sure.
Mine's a little big. I mean, some drums you don't need to have big to make them sound big if you can tune it right and treat it right. But mine's a 22-inch bass drum, so it's fat, but it sounds great. Yeah. Then I bought the chrome plated snare with it because it came with like a stock snare. Then I bought this with it because I wanted a deeper snare versus the shallow, and I usually tune my shit way up.
Yeah.
almost like ska, like hardcore punk, like super, like super tight, super loud and
Oh,
high
that's
pitch.
cool.
But yeah, so I've been loving the crap out of this kid though.
I have a big, deep maple snare. It's
Yeah.
like doosh. It's like a totally different
Yeah,
vibe.
I was excited. I've always had a wood snare, but I was excited to finally have a metal snare, and it's such a different sound, but it sounds great. I love it.
Oh, absolutely. I experiment with them quite a lot in Killbillies because one of the things I do in that band is we have feet drums in the band. There's James plays the kick and I play the snare, and I'm always switching them out and seeing, but I think I've finally settled on. I mean, probably not. I'll probably get another one in 6 months.
Yeah, no, trust me, I know. I'm always so tempted to buy new cymbals and all that. It's usually like the equipment I'm buying constantly. I mean, I had to buy a new cymbal recently, which that's another $450 down the drain. But
yeah, my poor
part of the
wife,
problem.
she goes nuts. I'm like, this will be the last thing. I promise. It never is.
yeah, no, it never is.
It's an addiction.
You gotta love American Music Supply with their payment plan.
Yeah, exactly. I'm saying. So, we got a lovely picture of this guitar. Could you tell us what's going on here?
So yeah, I got this Strat. What was I think last summer, and it's this color Miami blue, and it's funny because like it kind of changes colors in different pictures. Like some pictures it's like darker blue, and then some pictures it's like lighter.
Oh, cool.
I saw
Is that a humbucker up there at the bridge?
that is the Zebra humbucker, and it has a coil tap, so you could do a single coil. But I like all my guitars need to have humbuckers. I was previously playing like a Les Paul Special,
Yeah.
and I didn't think I could go to the Strat because like Strats are typically more high frequency and it's kind of
I
like
know, yeah.
classic sounding. It's like an HSS Ultra Strat, and some of my favorite bands, like the dudes from No Pressure, Super Heaven, Turnstile, all started using these same Strat guitars, and I was just
Interesting.
like, if it's heavy enough for them, like it's definitely got some resonance where I could get, because I'm playing rhythm most of the time, I could get that low and mid frequency.
Yeah.
And it's like
it's a lot to do with the pickups,
It is,
A
for
little
sure.
beefy sound.
because typically Strats aren't like that. It's more kind of twangy, like high frequency focused stuff. But with the humbucker, and like I said, I'm using the rocker verb, so it's just like to kind of have the high frequency guitar with the more low mid frequency amp. I think it's a good contrast to get that like fat tone.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a soft spot in my heart for Strats. My first guitar was a Strat,
Same.
and which unfortunately, someone who will remain nameless sold behind my back and is
Oh, you
now
gotta love
vanished. Yeah, I'm very gutted about that.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it's a total bummer. It was a Wayne's World 2.
No
Wow.
way.
Yeah, and it actually had the little plaque on the back that said Wayne's World 2. I'm so
Please
jealous.
tell me it was the white one.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, I was good.
Yeah, he's not here, but our lead guitarist Andreas, we have a picture up there, but he bought a beautiful Telecaster, like one-off, Mary Kay blonde, like only made like a certain
cool.
amount of them, like vintage 50s pickups. Like I said, it's such a wild sound.
It's
It's
nice.
like between his Strat and then his Telecaster, it just sounds great.
We've had some cool guitars come through this week. All of the guys from Octogato play these like hollow body Gretches. Even the bass is a
yeah.
hollow body Gretsch, and
wow.
they're so awesome.
Oh, that's
dude.
sick.
Yeah, totally. I don't think with guitars, because they're such like fetishized like consumer things. It's like you could never have enough guitars. There's just so many little tiny details each one. Oh man, yeah. When at 3 a.m, if I'm doing anything, I'm probably like looking at guitars.
Yeah, just window shopping.
Yeah,
on the wish
totally.
list.
Before I got that, it was like a lot of time spent on Reverb, eBay, like Sweetwater guitars, so like just going down the rabbit hole of like all the gear configurations, and like I was watching so many like rig rundowns and just kind of getting into what everybody used, like everything from guitars, pedals,
And
amps.
then we finally convinced him not to buy used gear
Yeah, there you
because
go.
it usually
Yeah.
breaks.
Yeah, for sure. Do you use pedals?
We do use pedals. And Andreas's pedal board is a little more involved
Right.
than mine. I should have submitted it. My coolest pedal was like an Earthquaker devices afterneath, and Earthquaker just has so many like cool pedals that you could just kind of everything from reverbs, delays, modulations. I mean it's a shit ton of money to spend, but it's usually worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I love all of that too. It's definitely another. It's probably worse than the guitar thing because they're affordable.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, you just keep chipping away at your savings because it's, well, that's $90, you know.
Yeah. There's a bunch of memes about that. It's like $300 pedal. Like, yeah, I'm down for that. Like,
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's crazy.
Do you want to go into your and Andreas's amp and head real quick?
I mean, we could. I mean, we're both using Rocker Verb 50s.
Okay.
What is it? The Mark 3s. And
Sick.
yeah, it's just super fat. At first, because I was using the Black Star, I wasn't getting, like, when I would do palm mutes, I wasn't getting, like, the same bite out of it because it's more high frequency, kind of more Marshall-y or PV style.
Yeah.
But now, like, I kind of have my treble on it super high where I can get the bite. And I didn't really want to, you know, use another, like, a boost pedal or whatever. It has enough distortion. But now with the treble higher, I feel like I could get the bite out of it when I'm doing palm mutes. And it's still
Nice.
kind of like wall of fuzz sort of sounding, but it's
Have
it's
you ever
really cool.
messed around with like a noise suppressor? I found they could get chugs really crazy, like if you set them right.
I think Andreas has one. I haven't personally, but I think Andreas might have one.
Yeah, that's something that I discovered years ago when I was playing more of that kind of music. Is, you know, you could really get some bite out, you know, with compressing and then like a noise suppressor works real good. So what do you guys got coming up? What's in the future for Eastway?
So I mean, we mentioned earlier, but we have the debut single coming out around April 12th. I think Mike
April
said.
12th.
So that's big for us. We have several shows coming up. Well, the next one is going to be the 561 Music Festival at Matthews Brewing,
Yes,
number
sir.
2. A little shortly after that, I believe we're playing.
Prosperity after that, no?
No, before Prosperity, we're
Oh,
playing
Propaganda.
Propaganda on May 7th.
My bad.
April 7th.
April 7th?
Nice. I used to play
Oh, yeah, April
Propaganda all the
7th,
time. I've got to
yeah,
get
you
back in there. I haven't played
Yeah.
it for a minute.
Yeah, April
New
7th
ownership.
there, and then
Yeah.
May 20th. Is it May 20th?
No, it's April 7th, and then April 22nd, we're doing
That's right.
the 5th year anniversary at Prosperity, which is like kind of become our favorite bar because, like I said, our warehouse is right behind there. We go in and out of there. We love Dom, the owner. He's done so much for us, and the whole staff. Like, everyone's super cool there. It's kind of become like a family environment for us.
Wicked.
So it's like we're in and out of there, and I think we've played there 4 times already. And like the first show back, we played at Prosperity, like out front, and we've kind of moved around. It's kind of a cool like backyard brewery type of environment where it's like a little industrial center like in the back, so it's kind of off the beaten path, and you could kind of have a bunch of people outside in like the back parking lot area. So
Nice.
he's been setting up shows there, and that's where we're gonna play together on May 20th with for the Long Live the Scene show too. And
Oh,
there's
right, we're playing that.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a
Wicked.
bunch of cool bands on there, and we're stoked to play with y'all. We're stoked to play with everyone on there. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Gonna
Yeah.
be loads of fun.
Besides all that, I mean, we don't have a set date, but eventually want to get back in the studio with our buddy Greg. And I mean, now we know what we're doing versus going for it the first time. So we'll probably try to do like a 2-3 songs in one go. And then also shout out Ricky and Rocky. They want to record our one of our songs that we didn't play today, but it's called Lockdown. We actually have a funny story how we wrote it, which I'll let Mike
What's
get
the
into.
story, Mike?
Yeah.
But yeah, they want to record that because they did a live recording for "Long Live the Scene" Volume 1 of that song, and then Ricky actually just did the live recording, kind of mixing and mastering to the best of his ability from our recent show at Tough Times.
Yeah.
So that we
Well, he
have that
puts
out there.
everything to that Zoom, doesn't he? And,
Yeah.
and like we're gonna do that at the 561 Music Fest. We're recording everyone's sets. It's gonna
Yeah,
be
that's
awesome.
sick.
Nice.
Should be
Yeah.
some live albums that come out of that for sure.
For sure, yeah, no doubt about it. Something I wanted to ask you, just because we were talking about songs, is do you have anything interesting to say about the lyrical content of your band and like how you write the lyrics?
Sometimes it's like I feel like there's no in between. Like it might be about serious, more introspective subjects, whether it's like depression or anxiety or whatever, like human emotions, versus just like some funny bullshit. Like with Lockdown, it was just kind of this joke that we were jamming one day. Adam was late to practice, and we had our band group message, and like we were texting him, and his girlfriend had texted us from his phone, was just like, Adam's not allowed to come out of my room. And I was just like what? Like what? And then I kind of started to think, like, what the fuck is going on in there? Like, and we start kind of going off on this tangent of, like, he's, like, locked in this, like, sex dungeon and, like, some, like, really, like, kinky, like, BDSM shit's going on there. And, like, I just start playing the song, and within, like, 20, 30 minutes, we had the song just written before he got into
By the time I got to
fully
practice,
rigged.
they're playing the song. I was like,
It was kinda
this is
wild.
pretty good. I was like, wait, what are the words again?
Oh yeah, some of our favorite lyrics was we go through like a kind of a bridge part, and then we all like hit like ring out notes, and then Mike comes in, strumming the guitar real fast, punk style, and then like just the first lyrics is like she's gonna get the strap on now,
Oh, damn.
and it's like it's a big joke when we're up there, but it's fun.
it doesn't actually happen to our knowledge,
Complete
but
joke. That we know of.
Totally
No, it's a
joke,
total
right?
joke.
It's a total
It's
joke.
a total joke.
I
Complete
promise. Yeah, it's a joke. Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't kink shame.
So the when it comes to writing lyrics in general, though, is there any kind of dominant theme, or would you say you'd go to all sorts of different places?
Yeah, like all sorts of different places. And like I said, sometimes it's about, I feel like, describing how it feels to like feel a feeling, and it just using random phrases that would like be descriptive of like different kind of emotions. And it's just like I said, I've written more serious songs, and then like with Lockdown, it was like more of like a old school like Blink kind of joke song where they just kind of, you know, like it's just a funny like joke of a song.
Yeah.
So it's like it's kind of like, at least lately, it's either been one or the other. But I think as we kind of get into it, it's just like, you know, general life experience sort of stuff, and just trying to kind of be like products of our environment, writing about living in South Florida and, you know, the craziness that ensues and everything. So
life through the lens of 4 South Floridian lads.
yeah, I mean, we love it here, but it's interesting sometimes.
So Killbillies is playing at 9 p.m. on Friday at O'Shea's, and that's one of our favorite places to play. It's like a home away from home in a way. Last weekend we played there twice, so this time of year's the weekend before last we played there twice. This time of year we really hit the Irish pubs hard, so hopefully O'Shea's isn't too sick of us, because we're going to be back there on Friday. I'm looking forward to it. It's always a good laugh down there. It's always busy. And then on Saturday we are back at Paddy Mac's, we were at Paddy Mac's for 12 hours last weekend. So so we're back at the scene of the crime on Saturday. That should be fun. And then on Sunday, I have a solo gig at a place called Golden Juicery in Juno Beach. This place is really nice. I recently did a photo shoot of Jacob Tacos in there, and the fact that we chose it to do a photo shoot kind of gives you an idea of like how cool of a place it is. It's really pretty in there, and I'm playing there from 10 to 1. So if anyone wants to come and see some morning music of me just strumming a guitar at 10 a.m., come swing by there on Sunday. And the other thing that we, of course, have to talk about is the 561 Music Festival, which is on April 1st. And I feel like it's very important to say that it is not an April Fool's joke. It actually is happening. We have 20 bands. And on 2 stages. The stages are just equally important. There's no on stage and off stage. There's nothing like that. It's all about it's all about like good bands all day from noon to 11 p.m. We have Octo Gatto, Tasty Vibrations, Uproot Hootenanny, Jake Walden, Joey Caldereo, Bryce Allen, Libica, Killbillies, that's me, The Shake, 1983, Dominic Delaney and the Dead Language, The Buck Stops Here, Rogue Theory, Young Fiction, Hadi, Stumble Steady, Eastway, the lads that are here, Andy Styron, Euphobia and Fox Maple Band. And it is going to be a blast. We have to thank all of the sponsors that agreed to do it. So we got Oasis Root, we got Pure Honey, got Raincap Recordings, Easy Teas, Live Music Community, Matthews, which is where it is, a Galliano Family Salon. Now, Galliano Family Salon and Backsaver. And Galliano Family Salon is a very one that's close to my heart because it's James Galliano, who I've been talking about all episodes. Business. It's his hair salon that he runs, and he will be running one of the stages and doing the sound. And so, of course, he's a sponsor because he's doing us a huge favor. But yeah, it's going to be great. We're going to have the 561 Music Lounge, where you can come and I think we're calling it the 561 Music Living Room, where we're going to get the bands after they've played, and we're going to talk to them about how the sets went. We're going to be recording all of the sets, and you can get tickets online at our website, 561musicfest.com or 561music.com, and it's $10 for entry, but then it's $25 for a t-shirt and entry. But then if you come to the event, the t-shirts are more expensive. So you save some money if you get the t-shirt and the ticket online.
Buy the t-shirt.
Yeah, and the t-shirts are pretty cool. I still have mine from last year. I love it. I wear it all the time. And we could still use some volunteers. So if anyone wants to help us out, please get in touch. We need people for car parking duty, which is they have a whole situation there where people need to be parking in the right spots because it's in a sort of industrial district and we can't be parking in people's way. And so we need people to help us out with that. And security, I think we've got security covered, but if there's any big strong people out there who want to help us out with security, that'd be great. And yeah, that's basically what's happening. The 561 Music Festival 2. I'm incredibly excited. I can't wait. I know Hector is too. And let's just make it as good as it was last year, if not better. It was awesome. It was so much fun last year. We had a blast. So, yeah, please come. Please come and support your scene by supporting 561 Music Fest. And I promise you won't be disappointed. All the bands are great. They're all fantastic. I'm really, really proud of our lineup this year. I'm proud of every band on it, including the lads we have here right now. It's going to be so much fun.
Come and see me make a fool of myself.
Yep. Yeah, you'll do great, Nick.
Yeah, exactly.
It's early enough the drinking won't get to Nick. I mean, at least I think, but you never know.
Just a few beers.
And just like any other thing you're going to ever see on YouTube, please like and subscribe. And if you want to support the podcast, you can go on 561music.com, and there's a button on there for you to donate to support the podcast. We do not make any money out of this. There's no... I'm not going out and buying sneakers off the podcast money. It all goes back into it. Goes into producing it and putting on the festival. We make zero money out of this. We just do it for the love of music and for the love of Florida music and for the love of helping out bands and us all being able to grow together. So if you want to help us out with that, we would really, really appreciate it. And I guess that's it, guys. So thanks so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks, man.
This is a lot
Wicked.
of fun.
Yeah, man.
All right. Peace out.
See you.